Welcome everyone. Thanks for checking in tonight. This is going to be kind of fun, I think. This is going to be sort of a tutorial in how to edit your RC photos using Adobe Lightroom. Thanks for everybody who's watching live, of course. And if you're not watching live, thanks for watching anyway. So hopefully you can hear me fine. For whatever reason, I'm not getting a preview of the audio, which is fine. But quality looks great. Thanks, TraxRC. That's amazing. Good to hear. And welcome to the Scale Builders Guild. So this is all, of course, being done on my new streaming PC, 60 FPS on this camera. And we've also got some of the desktop stuff going on. And I just want to quickly cut to that. So you can see there is Lightroom in front of you there. This is a really great piece of software. I've been using Lightroom for a long time. I used to use Aperture, which was a Mac-only product. So now that I'm on this PC, obviously got to go with something that's compatible with it. The Adobe suite, the Creative Suite, is fantastic. I've been using Adobe almost exclusively now for about, gosh, I would like to say probably about 10 years, give or take. So yeah. Thanks guys for checking in. I appreciate the feedback on the actual stream itself. This is something that I've been struggling with getting right. And if it's not a power outage, it's terrible internet. So yeah, we're definitely feeling the love. Thank you guys. I really do appreciate that. As you may or may not know, Adobe Creative Cloud is what Lightroom is a part of. It's not free, and it is something you do have to pay for. But I will tell you that the price you can pay for the whole suite is totally worth it. I'm not sponsored by them in any way. It's just my go-to software. I use Premiere, I use Photoshop, I use Illustrator, I've used Muse, I use Lightroom, I use After Effects. I've used Dreamweaver, which I don't think they support anymore, but yeah. Anyway, enough about that stuff. You'll notice we've got some pictures up here. Let's get into it. I've also got a ton of submissions from some very nice people who thought that they would help out and send some my way. So thank you very much for doing that. I won't be able to get through all of them today, which means we're probably going to have to do another one of these. Yeah, you will notice as well that I'm flipped on this small version of me, so I can actually look at the screen and it looks like I'm looking at it. So never mind the backwards logos and stuff. That's, yeah. Still blaming Rich for the power and internet issues. That's fair, Travis. I would blame him too. Okay, well, let's get into this. So I always shoot my photos in RAW format. I find that you get a ton of range. Of course, it takes the photo and applies all of the white balance and all of the looks and everything as it was shot. And you can actually see in this window down here, the profile, the white balance as shot. So that's always going to be what the camera was taking in and how you set it up. And then also, of course, temp and tint and all these other values are usually pretty flat because RAW gives you the full range of options, whether it be brightness, contrast, color, saturation, density, everything. It's all there. So we're going to start with this photo here. And this was just as shot. And the first thing I noticed, and I mean, framing is a big part of a good photo. And you always want to make sure that your photos have, basically you want to play rule of thirds. And rule of thirds is splitting the screen into threes. So you want to have your photo kind of laid out sort of like this. So the main part of the subject is sort of right along your eyeliner, right down the center there. Gary, yes, we are live right now. So there you go. So composition wise, I'm feeling pretty good about this. There's some nice foreground elements like this rope and wood bridge here. This is a really cool thing. This was actually shot at Axial Fest in 2015. This was when the Vanquish Ripper first came out. So this was one of the prototype units, and the guys there asked me to take some promotional photos that day. So I think I took about 800 photos of this truck in varying positions. I thought this was a good photo though. Some nice greens in the background, big beautiful blue sky. California is amazing, and it offers some really nice light. That's one thing I will say about California. The sun is just amazing. So it does give you a pretty good starting point for photos. And you can see that focus wise, my focus was right on the front of the truck here. It does fall off pretty quickly. I think I was using an ND filter actually, neutral density, so you can actually change the actual amount of sunlight that's coming in so you can get a nice shallow depth of field. And that's sort of the result here. We're not going to talk too much about photos themselves, but we're in the develop mode, so let's start playing around here. One thing right away that I'm noticing is that it's pretty heavy in the contrast, right? Not a lot of detail in the shadows. So one thing we can do right away is start to play with that. And exposure-wise, I think it's pretty good. You don't want things blown out like these whites down here in the wood. That's almost sort of at the kind of the limit, and we may actually check that out and play with that a little bit with the highlights. But first things first, let's fix those shadows. There is a shadow slider here, and this is just in the sort of the basic starting point. And if you just click on this, you can actually watch in. Is this updating? I think this is updating. Maybe that's the mask. So let's get out of that. Here we go. Okay, so if we play with this shadow slider here, you can see as I go to the extreme level there, you can actually see now there's a lot more detail in that actual grill. And that's what I was going for. But now I think we've gone too far, because this is pretty much kind of at an extreme level. So if we dial this back a little bit, you're going to keep some of that detail. And I'll go the full other range so you can see how much information is actually in this. So that's way too dark, obviously, and that's way too light. Somewhere in the middle, though, is something that I want to kind of keep. I'm kind of digging it right around here. And what's good about this is it kind of like hides some of these details, like these wires here, and we'll try and replace those later. But it does open it up so you get a better look at the texture of the tires. You see that there is depth in the grill now, but not everything is like completely, totally dark. So that's really good. Feeling pretty good about that. I usually try to see if there needs to be any change on the exposure. I like to just kind of play with it a little bit and see. You can actually see I'm actually affecting things pretty drastically. So if we actually, maybe we do want to bring the exposure down a little bit. Maybe not that much. Somewhere in here maybe. That's only 0.43. So we're going to stick with that. It's not tons. And then maybe we'll actually go back up and bring shadows back up a little bit. And because this is such a bright area here, the bridge is like really, really, really like well lit. I think what we'll do, and this is a little more advanced, but we're going to bring a mask in, a graduated filter. This is pretty cool. So you can see my crosshairs there. If I click and drag, you can actually see things getting brighter. And that's because we're only going to be affecting this area down here. So what I'll do is I'll stick it there and we'll pull it around a little bit, maybe even rotate it slightly. And then because this is just going to affect this mask, we can bring down the exposure of just that area. And you can see it's already bringing a lot more detail into that bridge. So that's already looking a ton better. And it's also taking your focus away from that really bright area. Anytime you've got an area of super extreme brightness or super extreme darkness, that's where your eye is naturally going to gravitate. So let's keep that. I think that's actually really helping a lot. And then what we might actually do is increase the contrast a little bit, even more, just to really bring up that shadow down there. And because this is dynamic, we can move this around. So if like, that's way too dark now in the front. So let's pull that back a little bit. Maybe somewhere in that area right there. And just for the sake of having some fun, let's actually change the temperature here. Because while this is a nice feature, and I want to highlight kind of the warmth of this whole thing. So let's change the temp, and you can see as I move the slider around, it's going from pretty cool to really super hot and warm. And that kind of works, right? Because this is California again, and it's a really nice, warm, sunny day. I like bringing some of the warmth in there, so we're going to leave that there. So I think I'm good with that. I don't think we really need to do much more on that part, so we'll just hit done, and that'll apply that change. Now, the great thing about Lightroom is that you can actually go in and go back to that and create a new one or edit an existing one. And all you have to do is, so you can see there's a little like circle there. If you just click on that, it brings it right back up. So we'll just hit done again, close that out. So before I get any further on, I think it's already a huge improvement. One of the things I'll do next is we'll play with saturation, because these blues are almost like hyper real. I know that was the day, but it's almost like too much. So we'll play with that in a second. I'm going to go through some comments here. Phil, yeah. If you don't get it right the first time, go back to black and white. Yeah, exactly. Let's see here. Thanks, Dale. Yeah, I think it's nice to sort of get a sort of a well-rounded idea of the hobby, and if it means that we can have some fun and do things a bit differently, but still learn something about this hobby at the same time, this is a great way to do it. So thanks for tuning in. Appreciate that. A GoPro for video, you can definitely shoot in a log profile or like a flat profile that will give you tons of range, so you can play with color like this. Lightroom is only for photos and stills, so if you're going to use stills on your GoPro, I'm not sure the settings on that, but you could do it. So that's definitely something to look into, Tim. Delete the white-black square thing in the right. Oh, yeah, we'll get into that sort of stuff in a little bit, Phil. Can I talk a little bit about ND filters? Well, I can, sort of. I'm not like a super professional photographer, so can't give you any recommendations on which ones to buy. But actually, as luck might have it, I have one on this lens here that we're not using. So this is just a fader ND neutral density filter. So what this does is it allows you to shoot at a much higher aperture or lower aperture than you normally would be when there's so much light. So like imagine a super bright sunny day. If you had this stopped all the way down to like a 1.4 or 1.8 or whatever it is, there's so much light coming into the lens that it would just be overexposed no matter what you did. But because you want that nice depth of field, throw on an ND filter, and what it does is this actually, I don't know if you'll be able to see it or not. Let me see if I can focus on that. So you can see sort of inside the lens, and as I turn it, you can't see in anymore. And what that's doing is it's actually like, making it darker, so you can't get as much light in, but you can still keep the nice low aperture. It's a really handy thing to have, and I'm really glad that I have one. So there you go. That's a neutral density filter. Greetings from Argentina. Hi, Sergio. Thanks for checking in. And what number ripper is this? I think it's 0000 -1. It's like the first one ever. I think that was Jim's from Vanquish. Or is that Harley's? I can't remember. Josh's might have been blue. No, that's impossible. This is Josh's. ND filter is the cheapest way to do all what Matt's saying than buying expensive lighting equipment to tame down all the highlights. Yeah, you could totally, that's, yeah. You cannot remove cheese from a cheeseburger in this program. But let's get back to this photo. Somebody was mentioning this big square here. That's one of the Axial Fest flags. So there is a way to get rid of stuff. I don't know if it's going to work as well as we might hope. This is the healing brush. And what you do is you choose an area that you want to replace with, and then you move this. Oh wait, how does this work? Undo. Undo. And undo. Let's see if we can. So what you want to do is make this brush big. I don't have a lot of experience with this. I usually do this stuff in Photoshop, to be totally honest. I don't know how well it's going to work here, but we'll give it a shot. So what you do is you select the area you want to get rid of, and then you find an area that you want to replace it with. And it looks like I've done this twice. And you can sort of see that it's not quite perfect because I didn't choose the right area. See if I can move this around a bit. There we go. That sort of works. Let's change the size of the brush a little bit. The problem is those wires are there, so I don't know if we'll be able to get rid of it entirely. But that ain't too shabby. We'll feather out that a little bit. Not that much. Change the size a bit more. I bet you there's a better tool for this. I just don't know what it is. But say that's close enough for jazz. I think that looks pretty good. Do you guys agree? Let me know. Okay, let's do something with that sky now. Because these wires, that would be really difficult to remove here in Lightroom. It'd be a lot easier to do in Photoshop. We're going to leave them for now. But let's kind of give that sky a bit of a thing too. We're going to pull one of these down here. Again, this is the mask tool with a grad on it. We'll maybe extend that out a little bit. And all we're going to do is introduce a tiny bit more exposure just to feather out that sky a bit. Because I don't want to lose how blue it is. I just want to give it a touch more. So that's probably good. Yeah, I'm digging that. I think that's looking pretty good. One other thing I did want to do was address the saturation of those oranges, because it feels like these are getting a little blown out here, and they're just kind of taking away a bit from the nice crispness of this photo. So if you go into the HSL or color tab here, you can actually go in and change the hue, the saturation, the luminance of specific colors in your photo. So this is obviously red and orange. So if you go in and you adjust this slider here, you can actually change those things in real time. So you can see where we were, kind of hot and a little bit buzzy. But as you just kind of pull this slider, changing the hue ever so slightly, that orange comes right back in and actually looks much better there. And then if you want to change the luminance of those reds, you can do that too. And it actually just, again, it's just kind of taking away some of the really hot spots on it. And that, I think, looks a lot better too. Yeah, looking good. So that's sort of like just basic sort of stuff that I would do to any photo. There are a bunch of other kind of things we can do, and maybe we'll leave this one for now. And then we'll go on to another photo where we can actually try some of the filters and stuff. Like there's all kinds of presets that you can have built in, and there's tons of photographers who sell really cool presets to kind of just go, you just one-click it and you're kind of done. JK was asking if we can make the dark leaves on the left more green and more bright. Yes, we can. Again, we can go into the, where is that? HSL, and we can go into saturation, and we can touch up those greens. And you can see I'm just adding saturation in, so they're not changing color there. And then luminance, we can do the same thing. And that's going to be like pretty extreme because most of these things are out of focus. So you can see that it's actually kind of ruining some of the background there. So we're not going to go too far with that. Maybe just like a plus 12. Saturation, we're good. Hue, see, we can really kind of affect it, but because it's so out of focus, it's not too much. I think we could probably do another mask, like a radial filter maybe, where we just kind of make an oval and pull this into there, and we'll actually, where's the reverse? There's a way to reverse the actual circle. Where is that? Somebody help me. Invert, there it is. So what we're going to do is we're just going to adjust the exposure here because JK was asking if we can lighten those up a little bit. It's going to be challenging because there's such a huge shadow there. If we feather this out, feather this the other way. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see what we can do there. I don't think it's going to be a huge change, but that's a little bit of something. Anybody feel like that is working? Highlights. Yeah, I don't want to mess with this too much because it's really going to start to degrade because it is so out of focus. But I think that's probably what you were after. I think that's pretty good. Now we can actually, what's the way to, let's see if we can actually see the before and after. I know there's a way to do that. Reference view? No, that's not it. Still awesome. Thanks. Okay, thanks, JK. I appreciate that. What's the way to do that? I know there's a way that you can show the original, but that is, I guess if I hit reset and then Control Z, I could try that. So that's what it was before. That's the after. Before, you can see that it's pretty dark in the details. You're not getting a lot there. This is really highlighted, blown out. Not a lot of texture in the sky. Big ugly square over there. Big dark leaves over there. And that's the after. Really drawing your attention now to the truck. Nice work on the bridge to kind of bring it down a little bit, lower the exposure, add some texture into the sky, and really kind of pump up those leaves a bit. So I think that's a winner. So much better. Yes, I agree, Trax RC. So that's just sort of the basic, simple stuff. Let's get into some presets and some more advanced stuff. And actually, let's take a look at somebody's photo that was submitted. It was really, I gotta say, pretty amazing to get so many submissions. So thank you for sending those in. And I just checked the email again. There's like another half dozen there. So if you guys want to do more of these, by all means, we'll definitely do that. Dale, yes, I definitely plan on doing more streams, and I'm not just going to be editing my own photos. That would be remiss of me. We should definitely do some other people's photos. So let's pull one in right now. Oh, this one. I wanted to start with this one. A Vanquish truck again, but this is going to be a good one. Here we go. This was sent in by, I'll have to check my email here. There were a lot of submissions, so bear with me. This was from Cedric. So thank you very much, Cedric, for sending this one in. This one is going to be a blast. There's a lot of really cool stuff going on here. And let me talk a little bit about the photo before we get too far into this. I really love these types of backgrounds. I think they really help make a truck pop off the screen. Lots of great colors, lots of great texture, really nice composition too. I don't even mind that it's a little bit off center. I think that actually kind of helps to the dynamicism. of the photo. I think it looks really great, really fun, nice, bright, beautiful color too. So I think we're gonna have some fun with this one. And I haven't done anything in advance. I literally just brought these in and just wanted to kind of play with them a bit. But right off the bat, what's the first thing that you guys would do to this photo just by looking at it? What's the first thing? See some comments here. And no, there were no G-Shocker, there were no photos on washing machines, unfortunately. Dynamism. There it is. Thanks, Alex. Nice word usement. I'm doing my best. Top left corner. Yeah, I mean, I'm not too concerned about that. Let's see. I'll just go, yes, Chuck, you're right. The grill is quite dark. You're losing a lot of detail in the grill there. So let's address that first. And I think probably where we can start is just in the shadows. I don't even think we need to do a filter or like a window on that on its own. Let's just see what happens if we bring that up. Already, that to me looks way better. Way, way better. You're getting a lot of detail now. You see the lights are still there. The grill's showing off. You get to see the headlights. You get to see the whole front bumper and all the detail there, but you're not really exposing a lot underneath the tires here. And if the idea is to try to help make this look good and like a real truck, you don't want to see a ton of detail under there anyway. So this is a really great start. Just a little bit extra lifting in the shadows. One thing I do want to do in this photo specifically is I want to bring more of this texture in. I really like how the graffiti back here has a lot of texture. You can see like it's on like a really gritty pavement. It's probably like a skate park. But let's bring some more of that texture in. And this is just using the presence tool here. And you can see that it affects everything. And I think that's fine. You're really going to get more of it like in that area there. If you increase the clarity, then you start to go, this is a bit like, in my opinion, is a little too much. But I actually don't mind it if you kind of like split the difference. And splitting the difference is something that comes quite naturally in my line of work. I actually sit in a room with a colorist who actually does this on films, like on commercials and stuff. And, you know, there's 24 frames per second. So he's doing this for the whole thing. And the basics of Lightroom are the same thing that apply in those kind of suites as well. But the most favorite thing that I think almost everybody says is, well, let's just split the difference. You know, let's go kind of in between here and split the difference a little bit. So it's not totally sharp, but not totally soft, somewhere in the middle. I'm just zooming in here to make sure everything's holding up. Actually looks pretty good. Let's play with the hue, and maybe actually before we do that, let's do another grad here and maybe pull in a bit of foreground shadowing. You can also do a vignette, and a vignette will affect the whole screen. I'll show you one of those in a little bit. You know what? Actually, I'll show you that right now. There is, where is it? Here it is. In a preset, you can throw on the vignettes, and if you go light, medium, heavy, what it's doing is it's basically creating this oval shape, and then it's introducing contrast and exposure in the areas of all four corners. And you know, it's a good way to get your eyes centered on the actual subject in the middle of the screen, and that's why people like to use them. In some cases it works, some cases it doesn't. I think it's doing okay for this one, so we're going to leave that on. But we'll also still do a mask here because I do want to introduce a bit more exposure here. So we've already got one, and if I just pump that down a little bit, see, that already helps a lot because I really like this texture. There's a lot of really cool texture going on here, and I want to kind of highlight that and show that off. So I think that's gonna do it right there. I don't think we need to really do much more there. Maybe give it a bit more angle so it affects a bit more of the foreground as well. But that looks pretty good. And you can even, if you like, because this is all like based on layers, you can add some more texture into that, just into the foreground, to really kind of help balance out the texture that's happening over here. So let's do that. That looks pretty good. Love that. Okay, cool. So that's good. And now let's get some of the color going on here. The magentas, which are these pinks. I really want to kind of get the hue of that changed a little bit. Something that complements the green a little bit more of the truck. And we can actually change the green too. So what is a good complementary color? Usually purple works really well with green. Orange also works really well with green. But reds, I mean, it's a bit Christmassy for me. I don't know if that's really my scene, but if we just kind of nudge it more towards the purple end of things here, I think that's working pretty well. Let's increase the saturation in those magentas as well. I think that helps a lot, and maybe even give the purple a bit of a touch too. That's looking pretty dope. Does anyone have any questions? Why am I backwards? I explained it early on. It makes it look like I'm looking at the screen, which is over here for me. And if it wasn't, I would be looking over there. And that would just be weird. So pretend that I'm not reversed. Yes, thanks, Travis. Appreciate that. Matt used the brushes for local adjustment instead of those. They are not as accurate. Yeah, absolutely. I don't have a lot of experience with that specific feature. I know you can do it. It's like this adjustment brush, right? Yes, exactly. So then you can localize, and you can actually like choose like just this front area here, like that, and give it more exposure. And you can actually, can you feather that still after you've already drawn it? Doesn't look like it. But that's cool. And you can also go in and erase those elements too. So if you're like, that's too much, you can just go in and edit that right out. So cool. So there you go. What was I going to do? Oh, let's play with the green a little bit more. Oh wait, Hermelo RC wants to know if I shoot with polarized filters. I do have a polarizing lens, or a filter for one of my lenses. I don't use it very much, but it can help with reflections, definitely. Yeah, let's play with this green a bit. I kind of want to play with the hue and see if we can't... Well, actually, let's play with saturation first, because maybe it's a bit, like, over the top. See, that's pretty minor, but it actually makes a big difference. And I think it helps a little bit too. So we're going to keep that. Yeah, I think that actually looks pretty cool. I know we're affecting Cedric's truck a little bit, but you know, the idea here is to try to bring some, you know, changes to the photo so it actually really stands out. The red here, I know it's a feature. It's kind of bugging me because it is a little oversaturated. So I'm just going to pull that down a little bit too. Not a ton. Just a little bit. Yeah. I think that's kind of doing it. Yes, no, I know that. Masked Master. I like your screen name. But yeah, I understand that with the main sliders, you're affecting the whole picture. But I didn't feel it was totally necessary to do the brush for just this for this truck, because there's not much else that is that green. So feeling pretty good about that. Anybody want anything else from this one, or are we feeling like this one's pretty good? Let me know in the comments. If you're going for a vignette, you might as well go sepia tone and add a cowboy hat. Cool. If you guys are happy with this, we're going to move on and we'll do another one. But for the sake of the fun of it, let's see the before and after before we do that. So here is the before and after. We've brought a lot more attention to the truck. I played with the texture and a bit of the sharpness of the truck overall. Foreground elements, I think that's looking pretty good. One more time on before, and I'll zoom in so you can see it, and after. Tons more detail, little better exposure, nice and crisp. I think that's looking pretty cool. Happiness? Moving on. Let's do a sepia tone. Let's have some fun. Let's get really warm with one of these shots here. Which one would be a good candidate for that? Let's take a look at this one here. Okay. So this is great because I love these rock textures. We're really going to play with this a lot, I think. You can see that there is a lot going on here that once we get some sharpening going on, I think is going to be really cool. Not a ton of background. So one thing I think we're going to try here is we're going to do a crop on this photo. The framing isn't bad, but I think the truck could be a little more central. I know that you guys are probably saying he picked this one because it's got Wrangler MTRs on it. And I did. No, I'm kidding. Let's see who this one was from. Bear with me for a moment here. I got a lot of photos in here, so might be a little hard for me to figure out where this came from. Stand by. Why don't you just tell me that this is your photo? Yeah, I got a lot that came through here, so. Might not be able to find it here. Oh, wait, maybe it was this guy here. No. Okay, well, I don't want to waste too much time trying. Oh, here we go. Trax RC. You probably already said that it's yours. Or maybe you did. Hey, that's mine. Right on. Excellent. Okay, so let's start by getting in on a crop here. Because I think, let's just make this all about the background rocks and the foreground rocks. So we're going to go into the crop tool here. And we're just going to pull down on the corner here. We're going to keep the original aspect ratio. We're not going to change that too much. I think you hold down shift in order to get it to stay constrained. Yes. Sorry, the keystrokes are all different than they were before on the Mac. So okay, now you can see the highlighted area is the area that we're going to keep. The shaded area is what we're going to get rid of. And you can see I've made the truck in the rule of thirds the center of the frame. You can also kind of play a little bit with the actual framing, but I think I like that. I think that works pretty well right where it is. So we just hit done and it recrops to that image size. So yeah, the rocks are really cool. Let's take advantage of those rocks, and I think we're gonna maybe try a preset on one of these as well. So first things first, let's apply a preset. Now I've got some here from Chris Orwig. He is a professional photographer, and he has done a whole bunch of really great ones. Some of them are even like California specific. So let's go through here. You can already see like there's a lot of black and white filters. This blue and yellow one actually works pretty well because the rocks are pretty much yellow and the truck is blue. So it does kind of like play to those strengths. There's a moody blue yellow, which I think is pretty awesome too. This is really playing on the texture of the rocks and really kind of brings a lot to it. So that might be a good one to go with too. Moody blue green, moody blue yellow. That's overexposed. There's a fix and underexposure thing, which is not really a problem here because we're not really overexposed. You could cross process it. I like this moody blue green. I think we're going to click on that one and go with it. Yeah, the texture in these rocks is so cool. And we're actually going to play with that. When you add a preset, it already does all of the changes to your sliders here. So you already know that's where the limits are. Excuse me. He added a bit of clarity, or Chris in the preset adds a bit of clarity. We can actually go in and add a bit more texture so those rocks really start to pop. But what it's doing is it's also negatively affecting the truck. So we're going to undo that, and we're going to do the brush, and we're going to try to not affect the truck. And I think this is how you do it. And we'll, where's the invert on that? There isn't one for this one. Why isn't there? There should be. Maybe there isn't. Ah, yes. Gotcha. Okay, thanks. See, this is great. This is really helpful. Having a helper online. So thank you. So what you're saying, Masked Master, is take the image sharp and then... Oh, you're saying... Oh, okay. I see what you're talking about. You're talking about something else. Okay. How should we do this? Can you apply a brush? Or actually, here, we'll do this. This will work. Yes. So we're just going to take this mask here. And invert it. And then I think we can sharpen this. Yes. The truck stays basically the same. That's what I wanted right there. Okay, cool. So again, I feel like we're just sort of like the texture in the background looks awesome, but it's kind of like all the same. So I'm going to do another filter here where we fade up and introduce a much lower exposure and maybe even a little more contrast, just to really kind of give you that sense of depth. I think that's going to help a lot too. And I actually don't mind the lightness up here, so I think we'll keep that. In fact, maybe we'll add a little bit more into this top corner here. Maybe even pull in a bit there too. Yeah. That looks pretty cool. Now this isn't the sharpest photo. It's not the highest resolution, but it is pretty good. You can see that I can't zoom in very far because that's all the res that there is, but I think that's a pretty good start. If we go back into these, I can adjust this one because I do want to bring up the shadows a little bit more. Oops. I'll make a new one here. Now that's obviously too much, but you can see that you can bring a little more texture to those wheels. And then do another one. Do the same thing to this tire and wheel. I think that's probably good there. Oh, Josh, thanks for the $1.99. You're such a helpful guy. That's actually like $4 Canadian, so I appreciate it. Yeah, I know, Masked Master, I know that the subject should be the brightest thing, but it is nice to have a bit of variance in the texture and brightness in the background. I know you do, your attention's still very much focused on the truck, so I think we're good with that. So there we go. I think that one's looking pretty good. Let's do the before and after. There's the before. So you can see, like, it's a great photo. It's just a little flat. So now we're entering this sort of the realm of putting in a preset, adding some sharpness, and giving those rocks more texture. And there's your final photo. So I think that's a pretty good one as well. Which one should we do next? Should we do this one? This looks like a fun one. So nice Traxxas TRX4 Chevrolet Blazer. Nice sun rays coming in. It is backlit a little bit, but it looks like it's pretty good overall. Let's play with this one. I don't think we need to do a crop on this one. This one looks pretty good. But let's really warm this up. I think that's probably a good idea. Because it feels like a sunny day, right? It feels like a nice sunset. Let's really get that sun in there. So there's that done. I don't really think there's much more I really want to do here. There's not a ton of information in this sky, unfortunately. That is pretty blown out. And there won't be any information. It's not like we can do much to it. I can try to reduce, but because there's nothing in there, it's just going to look strange, right? Because all it does is introduce darkness. It doesn't really change anything. I guess we could add some tint to it, but again, it's just not going to really do much. So let's get rid of that. And yeah. But I do really like how warm this photo is. Give that orange a touch more hint of saturation. I don't, like, honestly, guys, I think this one's pretty good. Maybe sharpen it? Yeah, maybe put an interior in it. Not much I can do about that here. Yeah, I don't know. It's a good photo. I'll crisp it up just a little bit. But otherwise, there's not much more I would do to that. Looks pretty good. Like, I mean, you could really go crazy and throw on like a really warm shade. I don't know. Like, do you guys like that? Do you think that helps, or is that too much? Off, on, off, on. Delete the body post, yeah. If this was a Photoshop tutorial, I would probably go for that. You know what? I think that added bit of warmth is nice. Makes it feel like a really sunny day. It might be too much. You know what? I think there's a way to kind of try to add blue in, but it's going to be, it's not something I have a lot of experience with. I'm not even sure that you could do it. You'd have to like change the white balance of just that element, and I don't know that I can do that. Just from a, like, I don't know if I'm capable of doing that. So I'm not going to try. I think that's probably going to do it for this one. This is too much, Sergio? Yes, I agree. But that's a good spot right there. So let's show you the before. Still a good photo. After, just some warmth, some texture. Dehaze? Oh, hi, Adam. Hello. Now, if you guys want to get some real photography tips, Van Ord Customs is your man. He does a great job. Really great job. Yeah, I mean, Dehaze. Yeah, we can try that. Where is that? There it is. Chop. Ooh, that actually kind of helps. And actually, because of the light that's hitting the Lexan there, it actually kind of makes it look a little more like metal. So that works really well. Nice tip there, Adam. Thank you for your help. What else have we got in here? We could do like, we do something kind of funny and just make it look like an old school camera. But that might be too much. Yeah, I think that's too much. Vintage fade? Yeah, no. I like it like it's like a new photo. So there we go. Let's do the before and after. Before, after. Before. Oops. After. Nice. Another one down. Josh wanted me to add more filters. Of which there are many. Let's get a nice background in that doesn't have maybe some clouds. Ah, like this one here. That's a good photo. Who's this one from? I should have had these all ready to go. As in, like, who came up with what. Oh, that was from Dennis Bune. And Dennis, you did a really nice job on that photo, so thank you very much for sharing that. I got a lot of photos in here, so bear with me. Here we go. Tyler Estes. Thanks for sending me these photos. All right. What are we going to do to this one? This one's great. It's actually really nice and sharp throughout. It's a little bit defocused in the background, of course. But let's see what we can do. I think texture first, maybe. Just see if we can get some of those panel details in. Not much coming out there, so not much detail. Shadow-wise, I think we're okay. Maybe get some foreground shadow here. Just a little bit. There we go. Some more texture there. Maybe pull down those reds ever so slightly. In terms of saturation. Just a touch. Because it is a very kind of like blue, green, red, gray photo. So let's not punch up that red a little bit. Sky's looking really good. White balance feels pretty good. I don't know if we want to like warm it up, or maybe we cool it off a little bit. Maybe make it feel a little like it's late fall or something, early morning, late fall. Keep the tint and everything where it is. And maybe we do like an HDR photo on this one. So like really get some of those strong details and sharpness in, just to give it a really like unique look. I think that's pretty cool. Let's maybe even crop it a little bit, because I do like that background, but I kind of want to see a bit less of it overall, maybe. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Let's commit that. Yeah, that looks pretty nice. HDR is something that definitely, has its place. I think a lot of people can overuse it. But it is something that I like to play with, and I think that's a pretty good example of just giving it a touch, not too much. Because, it tends to help in the details, right? It brings out panel lines, and it brings out the texture in the tires, and it brings out texture overall. It's actually a pretty good tool, but some people do tend to like really over crank it, and you can... I don't know if there's like an intense, super strong version of this, but you can actually go like super crazy extreme with it. And then it starts to look a bit crazy weird. I think that's a bit too much. So let's hit that back a little bit. But it is a good way of giving detail. So that's looking pretty good, I think. Let's play somebody was talking about sepia tone, and I think I've got a good photo for that. Here's one of mine. This was shot at Pardon My Noob's little village, Smiggin's Folly. And that's my marlin crawler in front of the jail. If you've never seen Smiggin's Folly, I suggest you follow at Turks and Jerps on Instagram, because he's got quite the miniature village. So we're going to go very sepia toned on this one just for fun. That's maybe too much, but it actually kind of works. If we apply that and then we actually go a bit, that's monochrome, so we don't want that. Oops. Let's do this a different way. Let's go super warm, but not losing overall saturation. Oh, thanks, Adam. Yeah, this was a fun one. He's actually, there's a whole miniature graveyard that I shot kind of through to get this photo. But man, it's such a great place to visit. I don't get to go to Richard's house nearly enough. We're just going to increase some of that shadow foreground elements there. Maybe even give it less shadow overall. I think that's helpful. And what else do I want to do here? Exposure wise, I'm pretty happy. Yeah, I don't know. There's not tons that I really want to do here. Let's go into some of these. If we go vintage fade, that looks pretty neat, but it's a little too much overall, in my opinion. If we go old and dirty, I don't know if it keeps. I can't remember if it keeps all the other elements that you've already got. No. Yeah, it does. Okay, good. So, yeah, I mean, that's pretty good. We could even, like, play with some of these other filters here. That's actually pretty cool, too. This cross-processed one. But it isn't really, like, exactly what we're after. That's probably... I like that. That's what I was kind of going for, so I'm happy that that worked out that way. It's a fun one for sure. Yeah, I like that. Before, after. Just something different, right? They can't always be these like really bright, fun photos. Sometimes it's cool to like do something a bit different. What do you think? Should we do more? What say you? Let's do one more. Oh yes, another marlin crawler. That is a cool shot. I like this one a lot. This one's cool. So little bit different in terms of its framing, but I really like it. I think the focus is still on the truck, but there's a lot of stuff we could do with this. And you know what? The great thing about Lightroom is that it's non-destructive, so you're not ruining your first photo. It's really easy to just reset and go back and start again. What I really want to do though is kind of experiment and have some fun and look at some filters and presets and try stuff that, you know, maybe it's not going to work, maybe it will. But let's get into this one. Shadow wise, I think we're okay. I might actually pull in a bit more shadow, if I'm honest. Highlights are good. You still get lots of information in the sky and in the foreground highlights here, so we're good there. Temperature wise, I actually don't mind sort of where it was shot. This feels pretty good. Definitely bring up some of that texture. And of course, you know, it all depends on the photo that's coming in. Sometimes the resolution isn't going to be high enough. You're actually going to get, like, you can see here there's some banding in the sky, and that's just because the resolution that the camera was shooting at wasn't very high. You know, kind of have to do what you can with what you've got. But yeah, it's feeling pretty good. For me, and I'm not sure if it was for you or not, the display actually went into its nighttime mode, so it got a lot warmer. I don't think it's affecting the actual stream though, so let me make you a master of those adjustment brushes, Matt. It won't take long. Masked Master, I'm definitely, I'll take you up on that. So why don't you shoot me an email, Matthew@scalebuildersguild.com, and we'll organize a live sesh together. That would be fun. Thank you for the offer. People like filters because they're easy. That's right, Adam. It is nice to like learn how to do these things on your own. And that's sort of what I've been endeavoring to do. It's not always the easiest thing, but it is definitely something that I really enjoy. I have a lot of fun editing photos, and anything I can do to kind of impart some of that data, I think, is a good thing. So yeah, I'm glad you guys are finding this fun. Radial brush and darken everything but the vehicle on most RC shots. Oh, okay. Yeah, I can do that for sure. Is that the radial filter or the yeah? So you just kind of, what you do is this, and just pull it over the truck and then invert it, sort of like that. Is that what you? Is that what you're getting at? Feather it more or less? Oh yeah. Let's just leave it off. That's perfect. Yeah, it definitely does help draw your eye to the vehicle for sure. I kind of like adding a bit more clarity in as well. Let's actually dial that back and try dehazing it. The problem is we're getting a bit of a sky issue there. So maybe what I'll do is, if this is possible, I wonder if that'll work. If we go less sharp on that, is that possible? Yeah, there you go. Ugh. Yeah, that helps a lot. And just introduce more saturation back in. Yes. That's a good photo. Yeah, I think we're going to leave that one. That's a good one. Thank you to whomever submitted that. No, Master, you don't have to go live with me. We'll do it like a Zoom chat or something, or, you know, we'll figure something out. But that's a nice looking Marlin. I'd like to know who that was that submitted that so I can thank them personally, because that's great. This is very fun. And I think I've got another good one coming up here. This is from Ryan Buchanan. So thank you, Ryan. Very helpful. Amazing that you sent that through. This is great. Nice job. I'm okay. Thank you. Hey, my dog is here. Hello, dog. Come on up. Come up and say hello. Oh, today was a great day. I actually got out and drove some trucks for the first time in a little while. What did I take out? I took out the C2X. I got a few things done with it. It's actually, I'm considering that one finished now. It's done. Oh, great. Now one of the cats is here. Awesome. Honey, we own a zoo. What else? I also took out the Comp C2 Jelly Bean for its shakedown run, and I'm very pleased with its performance. If you saw Instagram, I got a shot up of that one. So awesome. Felix, I know you're saying that it's too far left, but I actually like the odd framing that kind of still gives you a good sense of the background. I don't mind that. I think it actually works pretty well. So I'm going to show you the before. Oh, because I'm stuck on my face. Let's go on to there. There we go. Before. After. Before. And still a great photo. Just really giving the attention to the truck. Thanks to a good tip from Adam there. Okay. Yeah, so I got to actually drive trucks today, which I thought was fantastic. I'm really, it was so nice to get outside and into a spot, my favorite close by spot, Rattlesnake Point. I don't think they've seen a rattlesnake there in like 100 years. Oh, I had a good one here that I thought would be another good example. Where did it go? Can you hear the cat? All right, let's do one of mine again. I wanted to do this one because I just wanted to kind of show you how easy it is to affect something that is super backlit, like this one. Because I shoot raw, it does give you tons of room in the shadows to just bring that right up. So now you get all of that great data in there. You can bring the highlights up a little bit too, and reduce your overall contrast. And there, now you can see the front tire and all the texture in the tracks and everything. Just a really quick one, but super simple. Oh, great sky. This one's definitely going to be a cool photo. Let's definitely do this one. Hermello, no, I don't have any night photos. Night photos are challenging because usually you got to have some sort of light hitting the truck, and I don't have a lot of spaces around here that work well with that. I have experimented a little bit with night photography, but I'm not very good at it. Yeah, Master, it does sound dangerous, but I assure you that it is not. Actually, that's not true. That's where the Capra went off the cliff. So yeah, it is an extremely dangerous place. That's right, Adam. Super long exposure. Another one with a tripod is kind of key for that situation. And yeah, I definitely want to get into some night photography. I just haven't done enough of it to sort of say that I'm good at it. So I'm just kind of oh, this one's great because it's got a Scale Builders Guild sticker on the rear. So I think that's amazing right there. I love the license plate potato. That's great. 4.19 MTRs mounted almost properly. But that's just me zooming in. I kind of actually really like that crop. I'm going to get this cat out of here because she's being very annoying. And the dog is just chilling. But give me 1 second. Stare at that photo, and I'm going to get these animals out of here. Go. Let's go. Everybody up. Bye-bye. They're very well trained. They come in, they bother me for a few minutes, and then they leave. SPG stickers so the truck is automatically stuck. Josh, you're a mean man. Anyway, let's crop this photo. Because I think that's going to be really nice, just like that. You still get it, like, it's nice perspective-wise because you get to see where the truck's going. And you get a nice background element of the tree. You get some nice foreground of the moss and the rock. this might be the photo of the day. This one is great. I really, really like the truck too. It just looks fantastic. Nice job on the Forerunner with a different, looks like a 3D printed roll bar. That's really nice. Whoever's photo this is, you killed it. You killed it. Because I think I saw it here. I just want to be sure that I'm right on whose it was. Daniel Painter. Thank you very much for submitting this photo. This is really, really good. Yeah, who out there does have an SBG sticker? Oh, there's new stickers coming. These are exciting too. Because there's not just the shields and there's not just the hilarious bumper stickers. I'm also doing license plates this time around. So there's all kinds of like funny license plates that you can add too. Everything about this photo just feels really scale accurate too. Like this is good. This is a good photo. Really good photo. I'm not going to play with the shadows too much because they kind of work. It really plays to how it feels like a big truck. Exposure's really good. Let's bring up some clarity here. I do want to maybe we'll use this paintbrush tool here. See if we can't play with some of the texture of this rock a bit. Ooh, yeah. I'm making myself happy. That looks so cool. That sky is awesome too. Like you don't really need to do much to that, do you? But we're just gonna introduce a touch more darkness overall, just to really center your eye there. How do you get stickers, Dale? I usually announce on the YouTube community page, Instagram, Facebook, and the forum when we have stickers in stock. There will be a paypal.me address that you click on. It's all automated. You'll get a shipping note, or you should get a shipping notification when they've shipped, and they come in an envelope. Pricing and availability will be announced soon. Yeah, clouds in the sky definitely make a big difference. It's really nice to have those elements. I think we're going to warm it up a little bit. Not too much. Like, see, it's so slight. These little tiny adjustments make such a big difference. Like, if you go too far, it starts to feel a bit weird. But just somewhere in here, I think, is really good. Exposure-wise, it just feels like it's like right at noon. Right? Like you can tell where the shadow's falling that it is pretty midday. So that's feeling pretty good for me. Sky looks good. I wonder if we play up some of these saturation of some of these elements. Like if we pull up the yellow a bit, see it starts to warm up just those elements. Same with the orange. The rust kind of really is starting to pop a little bit more now. I think that's working pretty well. What if we pull down the blue in the sky a little bit? See that? No, that doesn't work. Just a touch maybe. That feels pretty good. And then, do we want to make the greens greener? Why not? That's pretty cool. And then for the fun of it, we'll do one of these. Just kind of hit the front of this, invert it. Definitely pull that exposure down a little bit. Yeah. Now the only thing bugging me is this wire right here. So let's hit that with a brush. Nice small brush. And down exposure, pull out the saturation of that. There. I think that's a fun finished photo. Let's see on the comments here. On the far right cloud, it looks like Pikachu. I don't see Pikachu. Oh, yes, I do. Good eye. Back wheel, you want to have a little more love there. Okay, can do that. Even rotate that around, pull it in there. Maybe just stretch it out a little bit more. I will say, this computer is so much faster than my my old system. Wow. Hard to believe, actually. So it doesn't look like there's a ton of detail in there. Maybe just a little bit there. That does it. Yeah. There. I think that looks pretty good. Hi, Ryan from Missouri. All right. So I think that's good. You want to see the before after on that one. That's where we were. Great photo. I still like this foreground tree over on the right side, but I think what we've done is really made the truck the center of the scene here and really made it look just that much better. Very happy to see my bumper stickers. That's a real plus. And that's the 22R saves lives, I think. 22 hours save lives. So there you go. You know what? While I'm at it, before we go away here, let's change this. Let's change this whole. Maybe just give this a touch more shadow overall. Ugh, maybe too feathery. Yeah, that might be too much. Yeah, because you don't want your blacks to not match everything else, right? So there we go. That's good. Cool. So that one's done. Before, after. That's a good one. All right. Jeremy, let's save that one for the next time. I've still got a couple more here from the first batch that I want to get through. But thank you for the submission. I will definitely get to it 100%. What else have we got here? Let's do this one. Hey, another SBG sticker. I didn't know that those were there. So that's nice. That's pretty cool. All right, so this is a nice photo. I like this sort of a convoy of trucks coming through here. Biggest downside? Anybody can see it? Point it out right away. Let me take a sip. Anyone? Humans! Yes, humans! We got some giant legs there, so we're going to do a crop first of all. It's unfortunate because we'll have to lose some of that top truck, but not too much. That'll probably do it. Yes, that's good. Let's make this a cooler day, I think. Just going to adjust our white balance. Maybe make it like really wintry. I mean, not that far. That's too much. Losing some of the color density. Somewhere in there is cool, I think. And then this might be a good opportunity to do a preset. Maybe, like, should we do a black and white one? That'd be kind of cool. Strong black and white. That's interesting. These black and white filters are crazy. Look at that. That's really fun because that really brings a lot of texture into this shot. Yeah, I like that. That's pretty neat. Nice artistic shot. Yeah, that's what you get for not being... Oh, this is at Blackfoot. Oh, cool. That's very cool. Thanks for the hint there, Todd. I got to run with those guys 2 years in a row at an event near me. They came all the way out from the west of Canada to my neck of the woods. Yeah. Yeah, sometimes black and white is kind of where it's at. I don't really think we're going to do much to this one. Other than that crop, I think we kind of nailed it. That's a lot of fun stuff going on there. Maybe we do a radial mask here and really kind of highlight these trucks even further. Not too much. We don't want it to look artificial. But if we just do something like that on that one, maybe not full. Yeah, that's better. And then we'll do another one back here. Just to kind of give these trucks a bit of love. Again, not too much. And feather it a bit more. They shouldn't be as bright as the foreground trucks, so somewhere in there is probably good. Yeah, coolness. Yeah, so there we go. We could also, I guess, give it an overall texture boost, but I mean, it's already been boosted a bit because of this black and white preset, but that doesn't hurt. I think that kind of looks pretty good. Yeah, I mean, that's what Lightroom's all about, right? You play around. You try new things. You try a little bit of this, a little bit of that. It's sort of like cooking, but you don't get to eat the photo at the end. Okay, let's see what else we got here. Maybe we'll do one more and then we'll end it for today. And I think we're gonna do one of mine. So we've done a lot of the ones that were submitted. And my thanks again for submitting all of these. It's pretty great that you guys are willing to share and you're willing to take a risk and send your photos along. It really does mean a lot to me because it makes these a lot more interesting than me just re-editing my photos. So thank you. Please continue to send them. Submissions at scalebuildersguild.com, and they'll just keep piling up, and I will keep editing them because these are fun. We'll do another live stream like this for sure. Yeah. So let's do one more, and then we'll probably call it a night. Which one should we do? Oh, that's a fun one. Yes, let's do this one. This is I know who this is. Just give me a second. Jeremy Kilburn did this one. Do number 22. Which one? Oh. Okay, we'll do two. Okay, we'll do two more. I'll do this one, and then we'll do 22 tracks RC. So, first things first, let's crop this photo. Not a heavy crop. Lots of foreground, though, and let's try to make it more about the sky and the truck and this water tower. I think that's a water tower. I don't know much about my water. I'm not a water tower expert. But let's pull that in like that. That's probably good. Yeah. I mean, it's straight. The truck is pointing downwards a little bit. That's okay. You can deal with that. Shadow-wise, I'm going to just lift those a bit. Maybe give us a hint of exposure up as well. That sky is pretty cool. So let's play with that. Maybe we'll do like a brush here. Feather that out a bit. And what we'll do there is we're going to lower the exposure and make it a little more menacing. Sharpen it up a little bit. Add some texture back in. Up the saturation. And you can see that it's making all of these changes, right? So you can even extend that once you've started it. There. That's pretty cool, right? I like an oil derrick. Yeah, that's maybe right. No, there's a pond back there. So it's some sort of pond. Pumping water, I guess. All right. That sky looks pretty cool. Let's move on. Do something in this foreground here. This might be a good opportunity to throw a vignette on here as well. Yep. And temperature-wise, I'm feeling pretty good about that. Yeah, this is a cool truck. I like what Mr. Kilburn did on this one. Done. Oops. Saturation, I want to bring up that camel yellow on an overall kind of level. Maybe even the orange will help too. Yep. Big time. Yeah, I'm actually feeling pretty good about that already. One thing I could mention about composition, while it is a profile shot, it would be cool if the truck was just tilted a bit more so the grill was pointed a bit more towards the lens. I think it would help a little bit in just overall composition. But I love the background. I think those elements are really, really cool. All the little trees in the foreground really help too. Really help sell the idea. Yeah, the horizon is straight. So I don't know that we can do too much there, but that is a nice photo. Nice work, Mr. Kilburn. Thanks a lot for sharing that one. A little before and after. Before and after. And you know what I'll do? I'll export all of the ones that I've corrected today, and I'll mail them back to everyone who submitted, so you have a scaled Builders Guild version of your photo. I think that would be a nice way to give back a little bit. So, and it's my way of thanking you for submitting these. I think that's the least I could do. Well, actually, the least I could do is nothing. Water tower and a sawmill. Yeah, Adam, I think, I mean, we could try it. Let's see what it does. what's that under? Transform, right? Is it? Or is it lens correction? No. I usually do this when I'm rotating. But see, look, it just makes everything look wrong. Undo. Yep, let's leave that right where it is. All right, and finally today, number 22. All right, I like this waterfall feature, and that actually reminds me that I did this photo at a waterfall too, and there's a lot wrong with that one, so we'll do that the next time. 22 though, let's play with this one. I like this waterfall feature. Foreground rock, that's nice. Looks like a TRX4. I'm not sure whose this is, so bear with me while I find out. Trax RC. Looks like you snuck another one in there, pal. I'll allow it. All right, what should we do here? Well, let's bring some emphasis to the truck. And we'll invert that so we keep that. Ooh, that's doing a number on that red, so it's probably a bit too much exposure. That's better. So we'll save that. Let's bring up some of the shadows so we get some detail in that tire and wheel combo. Let's do a crop on this one. I don't want to lose that waterfall, so we'll give a little less emphasis to the foreground and that side there. That's good. Definitely saturate those greens a bit more. Maybe change the hue on this red. Just so it's not so red. Hey, now it's orange. Josh, are you still watching? It's a truck for you. Maybe too much orange. There we go. That's better. Let's do an overall temperature change. Ooh, see, that's cool. Just slightly cooling it off. Ah, Josh. The Josh signal must have taken effect. All right. What more could we do here? Let's play with this bit. These highlights are going to be hard to adjust. They're pretty baked in. Oops. That's pretty good. Yeah. See, it's breaking down a little bit just because of whatever camera you shot this with, but I think it holds up pretty well. I'm gonna warm up this rock in the foreground here. Yeah. That's looking pretty good. Yeah, definitely need those extensions on the inner fender. Like I said, if this was Photoshop, we would probably just clean those right out. Vignette. I think that's looking pretty good. Let's go a little crisper on it overall. See what that does. Yeah, I think that helps. Yep, I like it. Before, you can see that it's a little hard to get some of the detail there, and then after, Really punching it up. So yeah, I think that's going to do it. Now I'm out again, of course. What do you think, guys? Is this something that you're interested in doing more of? Would you like to see another one of these, perhaps? If you do, by all means, hit the like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. You should be subscribed. And hit that notification bell so you get updates anytime there's a new video from the Scale Builders Guild. This has been a lot of fun. I really thoroughly enjoyed this, and I cannot wait to tackle some more of these photos. Like I said, I'll be sure to send all of these recorrected photos to the folks who sent these to me. Thank you very much for doing that. It's very cool. I hope everybody learned something today. I certainly still am learning things too. And my thanks to Masked Master and Adam Van Ord for checking in. That was really super cool. So thank you for doing that. My thanks to EVGA for sending all this great hardware that's made this so much easier to do. I can't tell you how much better these streams look now, all thanks to them and their hardware. So I'm actually in the process of maybe building another computer because I really want to start editing for my real job on a PC. The power to price is just unbeatable. So yeah, that's it. I think we're good. It's been an hour and 40 minutes. I think that's probably plenty, considering I'm going to be on for like 3 hours tomorrow night with Josh at 9 p.m. Eastern for live takeover. So live stream takeover. Yeah, as long as there's no thunderstorms, hailstorms, lightning storms, or other acts of nature, we'll see you again tomorrow night. Thanks so much, everybody. We'll see you again on the next one.